After studying this module, you shall be able to know about foreign exchange, learn about the use of exchange rates, understand the need for different types of quotations, develop the skill of calculating reciprocal rates, chain rule, cross rates and points. Also, how to calculate exchange profits and losses and realized or unrealized profits and losses. To begin with, this module introduces the basic convention used to explain exchange rates and the profits or losses that results from the changes in the exchange rates. The basic objective of this module is to logically describe the different uses of foreign exchange rates and its different types of quotations that would remove the confusion laying the understanding of foreign exchange dealings and trading. In principle, physical commodities, it seems that a particular commodity is being priced in terms of a particular currency. In exchange rate quotations, confusion sometimes arises because both the commodity being priced and the terms in which the commodity is being priced are currencies. To avoid this potential confusion, distinction is also drawn between the commodity currency and the terms currency.
Now, we will discuss about foreign exchange rates and its uses. In this, we will talk about foreign exchange rates, ISO and three-letter alphabetic currency code, uses of foreign exchange rates, commodity currency and terms currency, base and quoted currency. First, we will talk about foreign exchange rates. An exchange rate is the price of one currency expressed in terms of another currency. Exchange rates: 1 pound is equals to US dollar 1.4500, 1 euro is equals to US dollar 0.8560, US dollar is equals to Japanese yen 124.50. The word rate means ratio, that is, one number divided by another. Expressed in simple mathematical form, US dollar 1.4300 divided by 1 pound is equals to US dollar 14,30,000 divided by 10 lakh pounds is equals to 1.4300. Next, we will talk about ISO and three-letter alphabetic currency code. It is interesting to note that each currency is represented as three-letter code as prescribed by International Organization of Standardization, that is ISO. The way ISO 9000 deals with quality standards, ISO 4217 deals with standardization of currency codes. ISO 4217 specifies a three-letter alphabetic code as well as three-digit numeric code. The first two letters represent the country while the last letter represents the currency. For example, USD, INR and AUD are currency of USA, India and Australia respectively. As it can be seen that the first two letters represent the country name while the last letter indicates the currency name. In INR, IN stands for India while R stands for rupee. Similarly, even though in common parlance peso is the currency of Mexico, as per the ISO standard, Mexico's currency is represented as MXN. Next, we will be discussing the uses of foreign exchange rates. No country can produce all the goods and services that it needs, so they must buy products from other countries. This means that countries export and import. Imports are products or services that are brought into the country having been produced in another country. Exports are products or services that are produced in own country but are sold to customers in foreign countries. However, countries do not use the same currencies. So, we have to have a way of exchanging one currency for another. This is done through the foreign exchange market by establishing a daily new foreign exchange rate with the help of demand and supply interaction. Next is commodity currency and terms currency. In every exchange rate quotation, there are two currencies. The currency on the denominator is the currency being priced. It is known as the commodity currency or base currency. The exchange rate is quoted such that a fixed number of units of the commodity currency are expressed in terms of a variable number of units of the other currency. The numerator currency is known as the terms currency. In the exchange rate quotation, 1 pound is equals to US dollar 1.4500. The commodity being priced is the pound sterling. 1 pound is equals to $1.4500. The pound is the commodity currency. The dollar is the terms currency. The quotation is often shown as pound by US dollar 1.4500. By market convention, the commodity currency is displayed before the terms currency. Using ISO currency notation, this would be written as GBP by USD 1.4500. In the exchange rate quotation, US dollar 1 is equals to Japanese yen 124.50. The dollar is the commodity currency and the yen is the terms currency. The dollar is priced in yen terms. Notice that the dollar is the terms currency when quoted against the pound and euro, but the commodity currency when quoted against yen. There is no fixed convention which dictates which currency should be commodity currency. The pound sterling is usually quoted as the commodity currency from the time when it was the principal world currency. With the rise to prominence of the US economy, most exchange rates are now generally quoted with the US dollar as the commodity currency. However, the old convention still applies for some of the currencies of former British Commonwealth countries such as Australia and New Zealand. The euro is generally quoted as the commodity currency. A good rule of thumb is that the commodity currency is the currency of which there is one in the exchange rate quotation. Now we will be talking about base and quoted currency. For instance, consider the exchange rate of the US dollar against the Singapore dollar. In this currency pair, the US dollar is the base currency and the Singapore dollar is the quoted currency. If the following quote is seen, US dollar divided by Singapore dollar is equals to 1.6609. One can say that 1 US dollar is equals to 1.6609 Singapore dollars. Within the currency pair, the base currency is always written first. In general, the US dollar is always the base currency in a currency pair, but there are certain exceptions. The following currencies can replace the US dollar as the base currency: British pound, euro, Australian dollar, which depends upon market fluctuation, and New Zealand dollar, which also depends upon the market fluctuation. There are many cases when a currency pair does not include the US dollar. These pairs are called cross rates. For example, the British pound against the Australian dollar. Next, we will be talking about foreign exchange rate quotations. Direct or indirect quotation, American or European quotation, price or volume quotation. First one is the direct or indirect quotation. Foreign exchange quotations can also be in direct or indirect. A direct quote is the home currency price of one unit of foreign currency. An indirect quote is foreign currency price of 1 unit of domestic currency. A forex quotation becomes direct or indirect quotations depending on who is using this quote. For example, INR 48.45 divided by USD is a direct quotation for resident Indian, while it is indirect quotation for American. Similarly, USD 0.020673 divided by INR is a direct quotation for American person, while it is an indirect quotation for Indian. INR 70.25 by pound is direct quotation for a resident Indian, while pound 0.01423 divided by INR is an indirect quotation. Second one is American or European quotation. In the interbank market, USD is the most traded currency pair. In other words, for majority trades, one leg of the currency is USD. Banks and professional dealers normally quote in one of the two ways. That is, A. Foreign currency price per 1 USD, also known as European terms. B. USD price per unit of foreign currency, also known as American terms. For instance, INR 48.25 by USD is in European terms, while USD 0.0207 by INR is in American terms. Most of the interbank quotations are in European terms except four currencies. For Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, euro, and pound sterling, interbank transactions are in the form of American terms. Most banks quote price of USD per 1 unit pound sterling or USD per unit of euro or Australian dollar or New Zealand dollar. Third one is price or volume quotation. If an exchange rate is expressed such that the foreign currency is the commodity currency and the local currency is the terms currency, this is described as a price quotation. In a price quotation, the foreign currency is priced in terms of the local currency. If an exchange rate is expressed such that the foreign currency is the terms currency and the local currency is the commodity currency, this is described as a volume quotation. Under the volume quotation system, the local currency is priced in terms of the foreign currency. The quotation US dollar 1 is equals to 124.50 yen constitutes a price quotation in Japan, but a volume quotation in the United States. A rise in the price of the terms currency corresponds to a fall in the number of units in which the price is expressed. Conversely, a fall in the price of the terms currency corresponds to a rise in the number of units in which the price is expressed. Next, we will be talking about develop the skill of calculating reciprocal rates, chain rule, cross rates, and points. Reciprocal rates, cross rates, chain rule, points. First one is reciprocal rates. If the price of an apple is 20 cents, it is possible to express the price as 5 apples for a dollar. Similarly, it is possible to change the terms in which an exchange rate is expressed by taking reciprocals. Express the exchange rate quotation US dollar 1 is equals to 124.50 yen with the yen as the commodity currency and the dollar as the terms currency. Original quotation would be US dollar 1 as the commodity currency, which is equals to 124.50 yen, which is terms currency. Reciprocal rate would be 1 yen, which would be commodity currency, which is equals to US dollar 1 by 124.50 as terms currency. That is 1 yen is equals to US dollar 0.008032. Second one is cross rates. provided there is a common currency, it is possible to derive an exchange rate between two currencies from the exchange rates at which the two currencies are quoted against the common currency. An exchange rate which is derived from two other exchange rates is also known as a cross rate. Example 3. US dollar 1 is equals to 100 yen. US dollar 1 is equals to Hong Kong dollar 7.8000. What is the exchange rate for Hong Kong dollars in yen terms? Algebraically, US dollar 1 is equals to 100 yen, which is equals to Hong Kong dollar 7.8000. So, Hong Kong dollar 1 is equals to 100 divided by 7.8000, which is equals to 12.82 yen. Example 4. 1 US dollar is equals to 100 yen. 1 pound sterling is equals to 1.5 US dollar. What is the exchange rate for pounds in yen terms? Algebraically, 1 pound sterling is equals to 100 yen into 1.5, which is equals to 150 yen. Next, we will be discussing about chain rule. The cross rate in example 3 was calculated by multiplying the two exchange rates, that is 100 into 1.5, which is equals to 150. The cross rate in example 2 was calculated by dividing one of the exchange rates by the other, that is 100 divided by 7.8 is equals to 12.82. Mathematically, cross rates are calculated by solving simultaneous equations. The chain rule provides a foolproof procedure for determining whether the exchange rates should be multiplied or divided. First, start with the question to be answered. How many units of the term's currency equal 1 unit of the commodity currency? Second, start the next question with the currency with which the previous question finished. Third, again start the next question with the currency with which the previous question finished. If the first three steps have been correctly followed, the third question will finish with the term's currency. Fourth, multiply the numbers on the right-hand side and divide by the product of the numbers on the left-hand side. Now, in our example 3, we can calculate the cross rate by using the chain rule. How many yen is equals to 1 Hong Kong dollar? 7.8 Hong Kong dollar is equals to 1 US dollar, and 1 US dollar is equals to 100 yen. 1 Hong Kong dollar is equals to 1 into 1 into 100 divided by 7.8 into 1 yen, which is equals to 12.82 yen. For understanding more about the chain rule, we can consider the following information. 1 Australian dollar is equals to 0.5420 US dollar, and 1 US dollar is equals to 1.2320 Swiss francs. What is the cross rate for Australian dollars in terms of Swiss francs? Using the chain rule, Swiss francs is equals to 1 Australian dollar, where 1 Australian dollar is equals to 0.5420 US dollar, and 1 US dollar is equals to 1.2320 Swiss francs. Therefore, 1 Australian dollar is equals to 1 into 0.5420 into 1.2320 divided by 1 into 1 Swiss francs. That is, 1 Australian dollar is equals to 0.6677 Swiss francs. Fourth one is point. It is arbitrary how many significant figures are used in an exchange rate quotation. 1 euro is equals to 0.8450 US dollar. and 1 US dollar is equals to 122.50 yen. Australian dollar is equals to 0.5420 US dollar. The last decimal place to which a particular exchange rate is usually quoted is referred to as a point or pip. In the quotation, 1 euro is equals to 0.8450 US dollar and 1 Australian dollar is equals to 0.5420 US dollar. 1 point means 0.0001 US dollar or 1 by 100 of a US cent. In the quotation, 1 US dollar is equals to 122.50 yen. 1 point means 0.01 yen or 1 by 100 of a yen. It is worth noting that all points are not of equal value. In the above example, 0.0001 US dollar is not equals to 0.01 yen. 1 US dollar is equals to 122.50 yen. Therefore, 0.0001 US dollar is equals to 122.50 divided by 10,000 yen, which is equals to 0.01225 yen. That is, $1 point is worth more than 1 yen point. Next, we will discuss about foreign exchange profits and losses. Exchange profits and losses result from buying and selling currencies at different exchange rates. The profit or loss is calculated as the difference in the number of units of the other currency. Consequently, the method of calculating exchange profits and losses varies depending on whether the commodity currency or the terms currency is kept constant. The profit or loss will be expressed in units of the currency that is not kept constant. Calculate the profit when 10,000 pounds sterling are purchased at a rate of 1 pound sterling is equals to 1.4450 US dollar and sold at a rate of 1 pound sterling is equals to 1.4451 US dollar. US dollar profit is equals to proceeds of sale of 10 lakh pounds sterling minus the cost of purchase of 10 lakh pounds sterling, which is equals to 10 lakh into 1.4451 minus 10 lakh into 1.4450, which is equals to 10 lakh into 1.4451 minus 1.4450, which is equals to 10 lakh into 0.0001, which is equals to 100 US dollar. There is a profit of 1 point on 10 lakh pounds sterling. This is equivalent to 100 US dollar. Lastly, we will talk about foreign exchange realized or unrealized profits and losses. Exchange profits and losses can be either realized or unrealized. They are said to be realized if both the buy side and the sell side of the transaction have been completed, and unrealized if only one side of the transaction has been completed. For example, calculate the unrealized profit or loss if 10 lakh pounds sterling were purchased at a rate of 1 pound sterling is equals to 1.4450 US dollar and could be sold at a rate of 1 pound sterling is equals to 1.4435 US dollar. Here, unrealized profit is equals to proceeds of potential sale of 10 lakh pounds sterling minus the cost of purchase of 10 lakh pounds sterling, which is equals to 10 lakh into 1.4435 minus 10 lakh into 1.4450, which is equals to 14 lakh 43,500 minus 14 lakh 45,000, which is equals to minus 1500 US dollar. A negative profit is a loss. There is an unrealized loss of 15 points or 1500 US dollar until the second leg of the buy-sell transaction is complete. The profit or loss will remain unrealized. The size of the unrealized profit or loss will vary with the exchange rate.
Let us now summarize what we have learnt in this module. An exchange rate is the price of one currency expressed in terms of another currency. Currency in exchange rate is represented as three-letter code as prescribed by the International Organization of Standardization, known as ISO. The way ISO 9000 deals with quality standards, ISO 4217 deals with the standardization of currency codes. ISO 4217 specifies a three-letter alphabetic code as well as three-digit numeric code. The denominator currency is known as the commodity currency. It is also known as base currency. That means commodity currency is the currency which is being priced. The numerator currency is also known as the terms currency. It is also known as quoted currency. A good rule of thumb is that the commodity currency is the currency of which there is one in the exchange rate quotation. In an exchange rate, first currency is known as the base currency. Base currency is always strong than the other currency. In general, US dollar is always the base currency in a currency pair, but there are certain exceptions. The following currencies can replace the US dollar as the base currency: British pound, euro, Australian dollar, depends upon the market fluctuation, New Zealand dollar, which also depends upon the market fluctuation. A direct quote is the home currency price of one unit of the foreign currency. An indirect quote is foreign currency price of one unit of domestic currency. European quotation is reflected in terms of direct quotation. American quotation is reflected in terms of indirect quotation. Price quotations take place when the foreign currency is considered as the commodity currency and the local currency in the terms currency. Volume quotation takes place when the local currency is considered as the commodity currency and the foreign currency is the terms currency. Reciprocal rate takes place when an exchange rate is expressed to show yen as the commodity currency and dollar as the terms currency. An exchange rate which is derived from two other exchange rates is known as a cross rate. The chain rule provides a foolproof procedure for determining whether the exchange rates should be multiplied or divided. The last decimal place to which a particular exchange rate is usually quoted is referred to as a point or pip. Exchange profit and losses results from buying and selling currencies at different exchange rates. The profit or loss is calculated as the difference in the number of units of the other currency. Realized profits and losses are said to be occurred when both the buy side and the sell side of the transaction have been completed. Unrealized profits and losses are occurred when only one side of the transaction has been completed.